Welcome back to 5 Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you go to Underdog, download Underdog, and use promo code FFSGPN so they know we sent you. Again, use the building block that has been successful for 7 weeks in a row. Derrick Henry higher on his touchdowns. It's at 7 for 7. Let's go for 8. Let's talk a little bit about my rankings, and then we'll go into our best streaming options this week. Every week we've had 3 options for you, and we've hit 2 out of 3 every single week with top 6 performances. Some of these teams, like the Bengals last week with big returns, of course, those are big pluses, and we want to see that. But we're going to talk a little bit about the process, top 5 points given up per position, and let's get into it. So let's look at the top quarterbacks that I have this week: Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams. Some would consider that a streamer. I think Caleb Williams is a weekly starter. He's throwing the ball down the field. He's doing really well, but he's running the ball. I think there's a lot of things to like, and the matchup is just pristine. Kyler Murray, Sam Darnold. We saw Darnold do it tonight. Good night for him. Better night for Stafford. CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, and Baker Mayfield. Mayfield is one. He's tough with the matchup, but Baker's been really good this year. Patrick Mahomes has not been good for fantasy football. I think he's considered a streaming option at this point. And then let's look at it. We have Kyron Williams. I have him at 12 this week. Aaron Jones at 11. Devon Achane. See if Miami can get back going. I got him at 10. Kareem Hunt at 9. Jordan Mason at 8. Jahmyr Gibbs at 7. Bijan Robinson at 6. Joe Mixon at 5. Kenneth Walker at 4. Derrick Henry at 3. Breece Hall at 2. Saquon Barkley at the 1 spot. For my receivers, Justin Jefferson at 1. Jamar Chase at 2. A.J. Brown at 3. CeeDee Lamb at 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 5, Drake London at 6, Tyreek Hill at 7. Yes, Tyreek Hill at 7. Jaden Reed at 8, Cooper Kupp at 9, Malik Neighbors at 10, Stephon Diggs at 11, DJ Moore at 12. Now look at the tight end position before we get into the streamers. My tight ends this week, we have number 1 tight end is George Kittle. Number 2, Brock Bowers. Jakey, my son, loves George Kittle. That has nothing to do with my rankings. Maybe. Brock Bowers at 2. Travis Kelce at 3. David Njoku at 4. Trey McBride at 5. Evan Ingram at 6. Tucker Kraft at 7. Jake Ferguson at 8. Kyle Pitts at 9. Sam Laporta at 10. Yes, Sam Laporta's back in. Maybe I should put him in my streaming options. You spent round 2 or 3 draft capital. You probably started him every week, but you should be able to get him in there. Jameis Williams out 2 weeks with a suspension. K. Dotton at 11. This dude is tough as nails. We saw him taking shots, huge shots across the middle, and he was fearless. Without Godwin, without Evans, he may be the top option. And then Cole Kmet at 12. So again, let's look at the streamers. Quarterbacks, my top streamer let's look at the positions. Quarterback positions, the top targets are the Jaguars, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Panthers, and the Cardinals. The running backs, the top 5 positions, the top 5 points given up: Panthers, Bills, Patriots, Cowboys, Saints. The top 5 teams to target the receiver: Vikings, Lions, Ravens, Jaguars, Bucks. Tight end, Chiefs, Rams, Colts, Bengals, Panthers. Kickers, you want to target the Falcons, the Saints, Panthers, Dolphins, Raiders. And the defenses, Raiders the top defense target: Titans, Browns, Dolphins, and Patriots. So quarterbacks. As far as my quarterbacks this week, I am going with Bo Nix. Bo Nix gets the Panthers positive matchup. He's been rushing the ball, 4th most rushing at the quarterback position this year. Nix has been playing really, really well. Top 10 performances in 2 of the last 3 weeks. He wasn't able to get a touchdown through the air last week, and that did hurt him. Stayed outside the top 12. But this is a great matchup for the receivers, great match for Bo Nix, and he's someone that should be in your lineup. Kirk Cousins. I feel like every week we talk about Kirk Cousins, but last week his 3 interception performance had people dropping him. He was one of the top trending dropped players, but he gets the Bucks this week. They're a fantastic matchup. They're really hurting right now without their stars on offense, And Kirk Cousins he's been really good this year. I know he had a tough game last week, but he's bounced back in the second best matchup you can possibly get. This one's tough. Tua, I get it. There's the concern. One hit, this guy's career could be over. His week could be over. We're not going to get any rushing. But this offense, I think that this offense was atrocious without him, and we need to give him some more credit because you take him out of this offense and it falls apart. And everyone says Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle make Tua. They've been nothing without Tua. They've been terrible. And so Tua comes back. Everybody's all fired up. We put him in the lineup, get some Hootie and the Blowfish playing. And I put Patrick Mahomes on here for those that are listening and those that are watching. I appreciate you and appreciate your support. But Patrick Mahomes has not been good for fantasy football. He has one top 12 finish this year. In the last 3 games, QB 19, QB 20, and QB 17. He gets DeAndre Hopkins back. But, I mean, he's had Rashee Rice before. He's had Kelsey the whole year. We just haven't seen it. It's just been a different team. He's become a game manager, and he's, based on this defense, Mahomes really, pulls out the magic when he needs it, and he hasn't needed it all year. They've been rushing the ball and been very conservative on offense. And but this week they get the Raiders. Mahomes owns the Raiders. It's one of his best matchups. And I think you see some vintage Mahomes this week. Cade Otton. Cade Otton gets the Atlanta Falcons. I talked about him earlier. He's, goes into top target territory there for the Buccaneers. I really like him this week. Hunter Henry versus the Jets. Hunter Henry is another guy that you could probably start every week. But with Drake May, he's been fantastic. I think Hunter Henry is a guy that you should be starting. ECR currently has him at 15. I'm not sure. Nobody's chosen to love to this guy. He's top option on that New England offense who doesn't have Jalen Pope this week, most likely. David Njoku. Jameis Winston's in, and Njoku already scored a touchdown in half a quarter. We saw him blow up last year under Joe Flacco. Maybe it happens again this year. David Njoku is a great player, and when he's targeted down the field and when he gets good targets, Amari Cooper is out. David Njoku gets targets, gets in the end zone. Jameis Winston also has a propensity. He's got, he's in the past has targeted tight ends and been very aggressive down the field. All that matches up with Njoku. Deeper option, Will Dissly against the Saints. Green Bay Packers, they get Jacksonville. This defense is good. Jacksonville is bad. I don't know. The 16th best matchup, I think they're a much better matchup than that. I think last week might have changed some things for them. Xavier McKinney has been turning the other team over a lot, and Jacksonville's been turning the ball over a lot. I think it's going to be a good combination for the Packers to have a big week. They're my stream of the week. Detroit Lions at Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans have been an absolutely fantastic matchup, and you get either Rudolph or Levis, doesn't matter. Aiden Hutchinson's out. That sucks, but I still think Detroit is a play. Houston Texans, they get the Colts. Colts and Anthony Richardson has been pretty bad. He's not even combined for 300 yards in his last 3 starts and 0 touchdowns combined his last 3 starts, 6 interceptions over 5 games. And you think about, okay, well, he's going to run the ball. That's going to save him. 14 carries last week, barely got over 50 yards. This guy is just, he's not doing well. Week 1 was fantastic. Every week after has been a disaster. And the Texans they're trying to put their stamp on this division. It's a pretty bad division. Houston should win it easily, but the Colts are a team that they really want to put them away. They have a good pass rush and playmakers. I like them. Chicago Bears, I talked about it with the Washington Commanders. If the Commanders start Jaden Daniels, Bears are off my list. If Marcus Mariota gets the start the Chicago Bears. They're going to be a great matchup. So this has been 5-Minute Fantasy Football. As always, good luck this season.